Marcy and I and our children send greetings from Missoula, Montana to Pete and Julie and all in attendance tonight at the Pete Party. We regret that we could not be there with you as we had made a commitment to attend the wedding of our godchild, Gabrielle Pomptier, in Colorado before we got news of this event. Well, Pete, it seems only a month ago that the search committee sat down with you in Baldwin Hall as you interviewed for the position that you've held now for 35 years. I remember how excited President McLean and Dean Kruger were when you signed the contract. Dr. McLean later told me that you were the best hire he had made up to that point. But you and I have known each other for more than 35 years. I believe we first met when you were bringing your Knoxville bands to the Jazz Festival, and if that's true, one of us must be old. Congratulations on your stellar accomplishments in those 3.5 decades. I think you are the best band director to ever raise a baton in the state of Missouri, and there's evidence to prove it. To my knowledge, no other Missouri band director has come close to your record of invitations to play at the College Band Directors National Conference, nor can any boast the number of fabulous concerts at MMEA. And your band is the only out-of-state ensemble to play at the Iowa Band Directors Association Conference. And I also recall a few years ago when you were inducted into the Missouri Bandmasters Hall of Fame. Well done, friend. You also have given legions of students the opportunity to be part of the Gambler Marching Band tradition of excellence, including our children, Diane and David. When Greg Jones sent notice of the Pete Party, it triggered a flood of memories over the great times we had over the years. I think we made so many trips on Iowa Highway 5 that we could almost drive it blindfolded, and perhaps a few times we were at least half blind. Sometimes on those trips to IBA or the Jazz Championships, we tried to solve all the problems of music education, but just as often, not a single word was spoken for 2.5 hours. And speaking of accomplishments, when you, Ron Botany, and Larry Green came up with the idea of the Iowa Jazz Championships over a beer at a Des Moines bowling alley, I doubt any of you had any notion how IJC would take off and give the state of Iowa the best system of jazz education in the world. As a result, it isn't unusual nowadays for an alumnus of the championships to go straight out of high school into a professional career in New York. For instance, witness Ryan Kaiser. I couldn't help but notice at the University of Montana Jazz Festival back in April, 2 of the 4 guest artists were alumni of the IJC championships. Another mark of your success is the large number of Truman alumni who are pursuing brilliant careers in their own universities and high schools. I couldn't begin to list all of the Northeast alums who have had careers in military bands, many of whom are already retired. You will recall the time when Sadell High School in Des Moines was searching for a new band director, and the superintendent told you that the top 5 candidates for the job were all Northeast alums. I also remember when we were judging one of the earlier jazz championships, and the winners of 4 of the 5 classes of bands were Northeast alums. And at that time, I don't think we had any alum teaching in the smallest of the classes. I also have fond memories of the trips we took to Chicago for Midwest Bandmasters clinics. Especially memorable was the time we were taking a load of grad assistants to Chicago, and they got us laughing so hard we had to pull off the highway to avoid crashing the van. I think that what set it off was Falcone coined a new term. And once we got to Midwest, remember the envy with which other band directors viewed us with our entourage of 20 or 30 former students. And I might add that a good number of those students have been performers at Midwest. We also had some good times in Kirksville in spite of our busy schedules. First, there were those engaging intellectual discussions with our students at the Toutal's Emporium of Higher Learning, and the stimulating sessions at the Do Come In Drink and Think Tank. You performed your civic duty by joining the drumline in the infamous shortest parade in history, while I was a mere innocent bystander. And let's not forget the townie Cheers Gang reenactments of the Venetian regattas on Thousand Hills Lake in pontoon boats instead of gondolas. In closing, as the PeteParty festivities continue, you will be padding the future with many more great stories. Thanks for the memories.